This is Django and Lucy, or Lucille, full name, but aka Lucy. This is their first time at home, and they're just getting used to their brand new home environment. They did take a little while to kind of move around the cage, but one of them is both. Django is definitely the male. Lucille, or Lucy, is the female. Now, the one that's on the right side of the wall, that's going to be Django. The one that's on the left right there, that's kind of moving around, that's Lucille. Now, they're just kind of checking out their cage. I put some toys in there for them, and they have plenty of space to roam around the cage. It is a free fight cage. And the reason why you want to buy these type of cages for parakeets is because they need space to fly around. If you buy one of those type of cages that you see at your local pet store like PetSmart or Petco, a lot of times you'll see these rectangular houses or really tall but very small with space, and those are not suitable cages for parakeets. You need to have enough space in between, diameter wise, in order for them to fly around and not be confined to small spaces. Also, you're going to want to get some enrichment involved in their cages, because a lot of times if you're working a 9 to 5 job, you won't be able to spend a lot of time with your birds. And if you have a single bird, it's going to develop boredom. So that is why, in my case, since I work at a theme park job, I bought 2 budgies, one for enrichment and also one for companionship. Now, I am kind of having a small little cold while filming this, so I do apologize if I have some sniffles or some coughs. But to continue the video, what I've also added inside their cage is I've added a blanket, because their cage is going to be right next to my laptop now, or next to my desktop. And what I've done is I kept the speakers off because I know budgies tend to have sensitivity to loud noises. So I added that blanket there as a little protection slash I would say calming factor, so that they don't have to see the bright lights of the computer, and that they feel a sense of protection. And the loud noises, I've added my earphones, so that way whenever I'm on my computer, the speakers are not blasting loud noises and scaring them. Now, as far as toys go, you might have seen this on many YouTube channels. You want to get a variety of toys for your parakeets to play with. They vary from wood blocks to scrounging of paper toys, because your budgies are going to be playing around and keeping busy throughout the day. And what you want to do is you want to mimic foraging, because that's what birds are known to do, is they like to forage their foods. So sometimes if you have like any fruits or veggies or harder type foods that you want to have your bird forage for, then definitely get some of those toys that are made for foraging, so that they can earn their food instead of just being presented in their bowls. Now, the bare minimum essentials for owning a parakeet are you're going to need definitely a free flight cage. You're going to need your budgie. As far as liners, a lot of people tend to do the typical newspaper slash paper towels, or you could go buy the ones that are at your pet store. Whatever you choose. you're just gonna want to not get anything that would be toxic to your animals, because birds are adventurous. They do like to check things out. So you definitely want to avoid having your bird go down to the bottom and chewing on something that is toxic to them. So that's with bedding. Next, as far as diets, I have gone the pellet diet through Supreme. I do occasionally toss in a few seeds in there just so that they have a balanced diet of pellet and seed. Um, but mainly my breakdown is 70% pellet, 30% seed. Or sometimes occasionally I'll do 70% pellet with a few little tiny pieces of fruit or veggies just to kind of keep them balanced diet. Now, as far as water goes, you're gonna want to have nice, fresh, filtered water. You don't want to necessarily do straight from the tap because sometimes our tap waters can have metals in there that can be harmful to the bird. So make sure you're just using filtered water when you're giving fresh water to them. Now, there are some helpful water dishes and bowls at your local pet store that could kind of keep the bird's poop from falling in the water. You kind of want to, it's all about placement of where you put your food dishes and bowls and stuff inside the cage. The word of thumb is you kind of never want to put your food bowls right on the bottom of the cage because that's where a lot of where the poop goes. And if your bird starts eating poopy food and poopy water, then that's going to cause a lot of concern for health issues. So you're going to want to make sure you place your bowls and your food bit dishes wisely. Now, going on to perches, this cage in particular came with 2 plastic dowel rods, and I since have taken those out because, as you all know, those wooden rod dowels, they don't do anything for your bird. They are one of the worst perches to have. Now, usually with cages, they usually come in them default. So what we normally recommend in the avian community is to buy natural wood, or there's a type of wood, I believe it's called mezzanine or mopani wood. You just want to make sure that whatever wood you're getting has definite ridges along the branch, so that when your bird perches on those branches, that they have different widths and ridges, so that their pressure points on their feet can have equal amounts of pressure, so that they're not getting feet sores or blisters that could be fatal to your bird. So make sure you avoid anything like sand perches or therapeutic perches, because also what could happen with those sand perches is sometimes your parakeet can consume or inhale those little sand particles and get stuck within their systems, and that would also cause compaction. So we want to kind of avoid sand perches at all costs. Now, I do have one inside my cage because that was the only one that I could get at the time. So if you do need to get a sand perch, I only recommend just getting one and having the rest be the natural wood, and definitely do switch those out periodically, because throughout the time the birds will peck at the wood, they'll shave it down a little bit, so you're gonna have to replace them out periodically as part of your regular maintenance. Now, when it comes to maintenance, the birds are pretty, I would say, on the easy beginner side, but I won't say that they are totally beginner birds, because you do have to take a lot of good care for them. You do want to give them some exercise outside of their cage. Usually you want to spend at least about 30 minutes to an hour as enrichment with them. So you could do different type of trainings with them. For example, you could do, like, if you're just bringing your budgie home for the very first time, you'll definitely want to let them get it acclimated into their new environment. You don't want to go ahead and try to reach your hand in there and try to get them to perch on your finger just yet, because one, they are just coming home to a brand new environment, so they do not recognize your hands, or if they've been hand trained from normal breeders, then that's a different story. But usually, if you go to your typical pet store and just get a budgie straight out of the store, they're not going to be tamed to have your hand inside the cage. Now, the cage is going to be considered their safe point, so you really want to introduce your hand to them by doing enrichment. And what I mean by enrichment is you're going to want to purchase like things like millet seed, or you could also do like feeding from your hand. Once the budgie has really gotten used to your hand or trained to your hand, that your hand is not a threat to them, and that excuse me, and that they really trust who you are. Trust is going to be a very big factor with owning a bird. Once you lose that trust with your bird, it's going to be really hard to build that trust back up. So you really want to take things slow. I know a lot of people, especially kids, they see a bird and they want to hold it, or they want to have it perch on their finger. But you really got to teach your kids to just be patient with the birds. Eventually, after like a week or so, they will. You can start with what we call the step up routine. You could go ahead and give your bird some millet onto your finger. I'll go ahead and demonstrate that video in another video. But yeah, you want to really introduce things to your birds very slowly. Once you've gone through all that processes and stuff, believe me, owning a budgie will be a very great experience for you all. You could definitely move up into other type of birds. Like for me, I've owned, let's see, what have I owned? I've owned cockatiels. I've had a green cheek conure at one point. Very noisy bird, very loud, medium-sized bird. But cockatiels are also good. Sun conures are really good. There's if you're more advanced and type pet owner, you could also get into more exotic type birds like macaws and African I forgot what they're called. There's macaws, there's gray something, but yeah, those more advanced birds that really take a lot of care and really a lot of love, and you'll definitely need the space. I've had a couple friends that own macaws and some of those other bigger birds, and literally their entire room that they've set aside or designated for the bird is literally the bird room. So if you're going to consider getting a bird, make sure that you really do your research. Also, if you are a pet owner that has dogs or cats, you really need to make sure that your birds are not going to be on the menu from your dogs or cats, because dogs and cats will get very curious and they might tend to claw at the cage. So what I've done is I've wrote a note on my room door, so that if I'm not present or if I'm not home, my bedroom door will always stay closed, so that no frequent accidents happen, or if I come home one day and I see the cage on the floor because my cat got a little curious. So yeah, just make sure that you take a lot of safety precautions with owning birds. Again, I could tell you that owning a bird is a great experience. It's a great time for kids and families to bond with their birds. As far as noise goes, parakeets can be a little bit noisy, but they're on the more lesser noise factor. If I had to compare them to like a conure, for example, conures are really loud. They're loud in nature with their call sounds. But budgies, typically like what you hear right now, is what you're gonna get out of them. Some might be a little bit more vocal than others, but as far as like noise factor, it's not too bad. And budgies do tend to sleep throughout the day. They need about at least 10 to 12 hours of sleep. So without further ado, guys, because I don't want to carry on too long, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely please subscribe and like the video if you guys felt this was helpful for you guys. I will continue making a few more videos in the future about care and training and things to look out for. But until then, guys, I hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend. I hope you guys all enjoyed your spring breaks and your Easter weekend. But without further ado, guys, I will see you guys in the next video. Once again, I do apologize when I was filming this video. I did have a small little cold. I just came back from Florida, and I went to the Universal Orlando resorts. I did not do Disney. And I did also get a chance to go to Gatorland. So I will go ahead and show you guys some of those videos that I took. But without further ado, guys, this is Space Mountaineer 92, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Peace out, everyone.